Hey, let's cut right to it, because if you're watching this, you've likely hit that quiet moment where your old screen feels like a compromise rather than an experience. That's exactly the moment the QN70F steps into your life. This is for the kind of person who watches with intention, who notices when highlights clip and shadows collapse, who catches motion that doesn't feel right. You're not here because of specs, you're here because you feel what your setup is not giving you. Before anything else, check the current price and stock. TVs at this scale and performance don't behave predictably, and hesitation usually turns into looking back later wishing you acted sooner. There's always that real upgrade moment. Maybe it was during a fast-paced sports game where the action looked washed out instead of crisp. Maybe it was a cinematic scene where details in shadows felt flat instead of dimensional. Or maybe you watched someone else's screen and had that quiet realization, this feels more there than mine. That's the shift from settling to upgrading. The very first time you switch to this, the relief hits you instantly. The picture doesn't just show content, it commands it. Contrast feels controlled instead of muted. Motion holds clarity even at 144 Hz. Bright scenes don't glare, dark scenes don't drown. You stop fighting settings and start living in the moment. That's a feeling you can't fake. In daily use, it changes how your living space feels. Movie nights finally feel cinematic because everything is layered and intentional. Gaming feels more fluid because motion stays readable instead of smeared. Sports feel energetic because the processing keeps up with the pace instead of lagging behind. Even background watching feels unexpectedly rich because the panel doesn't gloss over detail, it reveals it. It's not about chasing numbers you forget. It's about how performance feels. Once you experience that seamless blend of clarity, motion, and depth, anything weaker starts to feel like yesterday. If you've ever hesitated because of stock swings or pricing quirks, don't let that be the reason you come back tomorrow wishing you acted today. Displays like this don't sit patiently. You might wonder whether a mini LED really makes that much difference. The surprise is how much control you suddenly feel. Blacks stay composed, highlights stay precise, and you stop dealing with glare that dilutes texture. What you thought was good enough suddenly feels blurry next to this level of balance. Here's something most people don't expect: you start watching differently. You notice composition. You notice how shadows breathe. You notice how motion feels instead of just looks. It's subtle, but it makes everything more intentional. The picture feels deep and confident, motion stays clean even in the busiest scenes, highlights stay crisp without washing out. Your room finally feels like a purposeful space, every scene feels crafted instead of flat, it takes real space to match its scale, and premium performance means premium consideration. Eventually, you stop the endless comparison loop. You realize you already knew what you wanted deep down. That's when choosing becomes simpler than overthinking. If you've outgrown compromise and want a screen that finally feels like it matches how you watch, this is that upgrade that stays with you every time you turn it on. Check availability, trust the instinct that brought you here, and enjoy owning a display that genuinely feels like a step forward.